You're sabotaging your own life. Every single day, without realizing it, you build barriers that keep you from getting what you want. You're the architect of your own prison, and yet you complain about being trapped. It may sound harsh, but it's the truth. While you're busy blaming everything out there, your boss who doesn't value you, people who don't understand you, the opportunities that never come, the real obstacle is staring at you in the mirror every morning. You've built a mind that works against you, one that convinces you you're not capable before you've even tried, one that finds 1,000 reasons for you to give up, and none for you to believe in yourself. And the worst part? You believe it, as if it were the voice of absolute truth. If you've ever felt trapped by your own limitations, if you've ever sensed that something invisible is holding you back from becoming who you really are, you're not alone. This is one of the most deeply human experiences, and today we're going to explore how it happens, and more importantly, how you can find your own key to freedom. There was a psychologist named Carl Rogers who dedicated his entire life to understanding this issue. He discovered something revolutionary, that within every person, there is a natural tendency toward growth, healing, and becoming more authentic. The problem isn't that we're missing something. The problem is that we've learned not to trust what we already have. Let's go back to the beginning. When we're born, we are pure authenticity. A baby doesn't pretend to be hungry, doesn't hide fear, doesn't try to be anything other than what it is. Every expression is completely genuine. But as we grow up, we start to notice that some parts of us are accepted and others are not. Maybe you cried once and someone said, "Stop crying, that's ugly." Or maybe you expressed a different opinion and got criticized. Or perhaps you showed your creativity and someone said, "That's not serious." Each of those experiences leaves a mark, and our mind, which is brilliant at protecting us, begins to create rules. If I show sadness, I'll be rejected. If I speak my mind, I'll be criticized. If I'm different, I won't be loved. These rules start small, but they grow over time. They become inner voices that tell us what we can or cannot do, be, or feel. You're not capable of that. You don't deserve this. You have to be perfect to be accepted. And just like that, without realizing it, we begin to build the walls of our own prison. Every limiting belief is another brick. Every fear of judgment is another bar on the window. Every time we deny our inner truth, we're closing yet another door. The most painful part of it all is that these barriers are invisible. You can't touch them, but you feel their weight every day. You want to speak in public, but something paralyzes you. You want to get close to someone, but a voice tells you you're not interesting enough. You have a brilliant idea, but you believe you're not capable of making it real. Here's something that might surprise you. These mental barriers are not your enemies. They were born with good intentions to protect you. Your mind created these limitations because at some point, they truly did protect you from rejection, from criticism, from disappointment. The problem is what protects us in one phase of life can imprison us in another. The child who learned not to stand out in order to avoid criticism may grow into an adult who never allows themselves to shine. The person who learned not to trust others in order to avoid being hurt may become someone who lives in isolation. Carl Rogers understood something fundamental. These barriers are not permanent. They are creations of the mind, and the same mind that built them also has the power to transform them. But in order to do that, we need to stop fighting them and start understanding them. Think of it this way. You don't need to break down the walls of your prison with force. You don't need to push yourself to be different. You don't need to criticize yourself for having these limitations. In fact, the more you fight them, the stronger they become. What you need is to remember that you are both the prisoner and the warden. You are both the one who is trapped and the one who holds the key. And that key has a name: self-understanding and acceptance. Let me tell you something that might sound strange at first. You don't need to get rid of your limitations to be free. You just need to understand that they don't define who you are. They are simply patterns you've learned, not absolute truths about you. Imagine you've always believed you weren't good enough to get that promotion at work. That belief created a barrier. But what if that belief was just an opinion you have about yourself, not a fact? And what if you could keep that opinion, acknowledge it, but still choose to act differently anyway? Rogers discovered that when we begin to fully accept ourselves, including our limitations, our fears, our insecurities, something magical happens. Those parts of us that once felt heavy and limiting begin to transform naturally. It's as if you turn to that inner voice that's always criticized you and say, I see you, I understand you, I know you're trying to protect me, but now I'm going to do things differently, not because you're wrong, but because I choose to trust myself. Freedom doesn't come from being fearless. It comes from feeling fear and choosing to act with courage anyway. It doesn't come from having no insecurities. It comes from having insecurities and choosing to value yourself anyway. It doesn't come from having no limitations. It comes from recognizing that you are so much greater than any limitation. Now, I want to invite you to try a simple but powerful exercise. It's not about forcing change or criticizing yourself. It's about discovering. Think of an area in your life where you feel limited. It could be in relationships, at work, in your creativity, or in your ability to express yourself. Choose one specific situation where you feel like you can't or aren't capable. Now, instead of focusing on what you can't do, ask yourself these questions. What belief do I have about myself in this situation? When did I learn to think this way? What was this belief trying to protect me from? If this belief were just an opinion, not a truth, how would I feel? You don't need perfect answers. Just allow these questions to open up a space within you, a space where you can look at yourself with curiosity instead of judgment. Rogers believed that each person holds an inner wisdom that knows exactly what's best for them. You don't need someone outside of you telling you what to do. You need to trust your own capacity to grow, to understand yourself, to transform. And here's the secret. That trust doesn't come from feeling perfect. It comes from feeling that you are enough, exactly as you are, and that you have permission to become who you truly are. There's something I need to tell you, and it might be the most important thing we've talked about so far. You don't need to do anything with this information. You don't need to force yourself to change. You don't need to set impossible goals or pressure yourself to be different by tomorrow. All you need to do is give yourself permission to be who you already are. Permission to feel what you feel, to have the fears you have, to be imperfect and human. And at the same time, permission to dream, to desire, to believe that you deserve good things. The mind that created your barriers is the same mind that can transform them, not through force or resistance, but through understanding and acceptance. Within you, there is a natural tendency toward growth, healing, and authenticity. Trust that tendency. Trust yourself. The walls that seem so solid are only creations of your mind, and the key to your freedom has always been in your pocket. It's your capacity to accept yourself, to understand yourself, and to choose to grow at your own pace. You are not trapped. You never were. You've always been free to become who you truly are. If this video touched something in you, if it made sense in any way, leave a like so more people can find these reflections. Share it with someone you think needs to hear this, and tell me in the comments, what's the first thing you discovered about yourself today? Subscribe to the channel for more content on self-knowledge and personal growth. And remember, you don't have to walk this journey alone, but you're the only one who can walk it for you. Until next time, and never forget, you are already enough.